Okay, now for the Jaeger sauce. Jaeger sauce, for those of you who've tried my Hunter's Chicken recipe, which will be somewhere down here, perhaps, or just look on my channel. It's pretty much the same sort of thing, in that this is the more the German idea of a Jaeger sauce, which means the same thing. Jaeger means hunter in German. The addition is to this, I'm just adding a little bacon to bring out a little flavour, and because I'm cooking cabbage with bacon, the recipe for that will be also on my channel. The bacon carries the theme through to the sauce, if you understand my meaning with that. I've also chopped up just one clove of garlic, shredded it finely. There's half a medium-sized onion, which again is chopped up finely, and there's a couple of cups of, in this case these are chestnut mushrooms, but ordinary tunnel-grown field white mushrooms will do. There's, for colouring, again, there's just a bit of tomato paste or tomato puree in there. This is a 300 mils or 9 ounces of chicken stock, and what we have here is a couple of very heaped teaspoons of cornstarch, or corn flour as we call it in England, just mixed with enough water to get it into the mix. Interesting point here, you'll see what I do with my mushrooms, and if you ever go in your fridge and you open up your mushrooms, which has got a plastic top over it, and you wonder why they're all sweating and horrible and greasy after a while, it's to do with this. I mean, if you just use an ordinary bit of kitchen towel, and then you just cover up the mushrooms with that, you'll find it extends the life of your mushrooms in the fridge. So there's a little tip out of the way. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the cooker and start you off with cooking the Jaeger sauce. Good, here we are now. I forgot to mention a little bit of oil. You need a bit of oil in the pan, in a hot pan, just to get it going. That's about a tablespoon of oil, and then the next thing we do is we put in the bacon. What you can use pancetta or speck. Typically the Germans would use speck, but I have trouble getting hold of that. But pancetta is perfectly good. Any decent bacon, but if you can get hold of air-dried bacon, the better. And it's up to you whether you prefer smoked or just green bacon. I think this is just ordinary green bacon, but I do like smoked bacon with it as well. So we just start that up. That starts to flavour the little bit of oil that's in there. It's not an oil-intensive meal, so don't worry about that. And the next thing we do is, well, we let that cook out a little bit till it starts to get a little bit crispy. Okay. Just give you a bit of a close-up on that. That's a bit better. Right. So we cook that, just let it flavour that oil that's in the pan, and now it's time to get in aromatics, in this case, which is my onions, in they go, and my garlic. Sorry, I'm doing it right-handed, but I am right-handed, sorry. There you go. And I'll leave the mushrooms for a while, because I want to get a turn on those onions first. So we get the onions in. Oh, that smells great. Bacon and onions and garlic in the same pan. Oh my lord. Oh, that would wake the devil, I tell you, that smell. It's wonderful. It's a pity we don't have smelly vision, isn't it, really? How gorgeous is that? I just let that go for a little while longer. what you really want to do is just keep turning, just let the onions begin to get a little translucent. And of course this is why we chop them fine, because we don't want to be waiting around for large chunks of onion to go translucent on us, do we? So generally you tend to cook things according to the speed you want them to cook, and then you add them like we have here, the stronger flavours first, and then moving back to the aromatic yet not quite as strong flavours, i.e. onion and then garlic. Although no one could say garlic's not a strong flavour. And now we're going with the mushrooms. Okay, we're going to do the lazy chef bit in a minute. Alright. Right, save messing around with my camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this lot over to you so you can see it. Yeah. Let's widen that out a bit. Okay, you can see that now, just about. So into the chicken stock, we want to get in the tomato paste. In with the tomato paste. And make sure you stir this because it all sticks to the bottom, it settles when you leave it for any length of time. And then what you do is you just pour that in there. Again, we're not salting the sauce. I'm not salting the sauce at this point because I've already put bacon in it and I've no idea how salty that's going to be when it's finished. So for now I'm just going to let that go for a bit. And let those cook down a little bit longer until the until the mushrooms are starting to look a little more done, because as they are there now, they're still a little bit uncooked. Right, I'll give that another stir, make sure that's all right. And we're just waiting for that now. I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, right, that looks like it's cooked down a little bit more now, so as you see, the mushrooms have already taken a turn, and I think we can go in with our stock now. Bearing in mind that's got the thickener all mixed in with it. Remember, we're doing it the lazy chef way. And I haven't mentioned the bit of luxury we're going to put in this at the end, just to finish it. Now, as you put in thickened stock like that, it's got the thickener in it. Make sure you keep it stirring, otherwise you'll end up with lumps. And we don't want to end up with lumps. And occasionally, I have been known to put too much thickener in there. So what I generally do is keep a little bit of water on hand, just in case. So that's just a little bit of water. And as you see, it's starting to thicken now. It's starting to thicken nicely. So everything in that pan is cooked. The flavours are now gathering. And that's cooking sweet. That's really nice. That's going to be delicious. You just know it, don't you? Right. Another thing I want to do is add a little bit more water. That was just a little splash, but you judge it yourself, that. I'm not going to give you weights and measures on things you should be eyeballing. There you go. So there you are. It's a nice rich Jäger sauce. And now we're just going to finish it with a splash of luxury. And give me a second, because what we've got here is some ordinary cream. It's not thick cream or anything like that, just ordinary cream and some creme fraiche. So what we're going to do is we're going to stir in about a tablespoon of the cream, maybe a little bit more of that. Let's put 2 in because we're going to spoil ourselves tonight. And give that a stir. Whenever you put a tablespoon of cream into something, stir it before you add another one. Yeah. You're looking at about that tolerance really, a couple of tablespoons. Give it a good old stir, and you see it suddenly turns a bit more creamy. Now, one thing we're going to do now is to add another sort of tang to it. Is to add a little bit of creme fraiche. So that's a light version of creme fraiche, and again, you know, stir it in. Make sure that you combine it all nicely, and as you see there, look, it doesn't curdle. Another way of stopping milk and creams curdling when they hit the pan is to make sure that the pan does have an amount of a thickener in it, something like cornstarch or flour or something like that. I'm just going to thin that out a little bit more again. And there you have it. That's the Jäger sauce. So I'm just going to taste that now and adjust for seasoning. Let me have a go with that. Oh, go on. Be a devil, Peter. Use that spoon. I just want to get a taste of that. Okay, right. That's missing not much at all. But you'll know I'm a nut for pepper, at least those of you who've been watching my videos. So it's going to need some nice fresh cracked black jack in it. Freshly ground black pepper. Delicious. And I would say just a couple of grinds of that really. And that will do me. And I now know that that is going to be extra special. So Hunter sauce, Chasseur sauce, or Jäger sauce. My way. The easy way. Feast your eyes on that. Let's give you another close up on it. Excellent. Right, now for the Jägerschnitzels. The schnitzels, you can use veal, you can use pork, you can use turkey if you wish. But today I'm using these rather nice pork médaillons, pork steaks. And what I've done is I've put them down on some cling film or some plastic kitchen film. I'm not sure what you call it elsewhere. And then all I do is I cover that over with another piece like that. Two methods of doing this. If you've got a meat tenderizer, give it a good old whack with a meat tenderizer. Or if you've got a rolling pin, you can do the same. Just bash it out. I'm going to spare you that noise and we'll get back to you when I've done all that. Alright, that's the schnitzels bashed out a little bit, and you'll see they're a lot easier to manage because they're in there in the kitchen cling film, as we call it. Right, the next thing we're going to need to wash it in egg and then cover it in breadcrumbs. So to that end I'm going to beat up a couple of eggs. That's the eggs beaten up. I want a couple of tablespoons of flour. What I'm using here is this is a wholemeal bread flour, strong wholemeal bread flour. It doesn't really matter. Any kind of flour you've got will do, and it's for breading your schnitzels. That'll do with that. And then egg. We'll pour that in the middle plate. So we've got the flour in the first. And the egg in the middle one. And last but not least, right, I found I didn't have any breadcrumbs. So what did I do? I didn't have any breadcrumbs, so I used a very sneaky little trick of taking a bread roll, sticking it in there and whizzing it round. It actually smells rather nice. It smells of yeast. It's really good. So there you are, you got sort of instant panko breadcrumbs that way. Very simple. There's another little tip for you. Alright, the first thing we do before we continue now is we've got to make sure that the pan is on and that the oil is heating up. So I'll do that first of all and then I'll get back to you. Okay, right, here we are. So the schnitzels are ready to go. I use a clean hand and a dirty hand, which will be my right hand, and turn them over in the flour. I've seasoned the flour with a little salt and pepper, by the way. That's straightforward. So there you go. I'm having to switch hands just to show you. And then into the egg, and then into my breadcrumbs, my homemade panko breadcrumbs. Very straightforward. And they put a delicious coating on the bread, on the schnitzels. Same again. Second one. And you do this for however many you've got. And then that then goes into the egg again. Okay. And there this hand tends, if you're doing a lot of these, this one of your hands tends to get gummed up with all the proceeds here. And there you go. Make sure every bit's coated, get it nice, and then we'll get that into the fat. I'll show you that right now. Okay, there we are. Right, there's the, just swirl the pan. There's a couple of tablespoons of oil heating in there, and we drop those straight into the oil, and we cook those now. Nice and thin, doesn't take long to cook them. Just make sure they're cooked all the way through. Let's give you a bit of close up on that. Sweet. Okay, let them cook and then I'll flip them. I'll come back to you just before I turn them. Alright, you'll notice as you're cooking them, you'll see the bottom begin to brown anyway, but you'll notice the white creeps up the side of the meat. When it's about halfway up, it's time to flip. Let's see if you can flip the damn thing. Well, there we go. If at first you don't succeed, persevere people, persevere. Maybe a little bit early to flip them, but there you go. You can always turn them over one more time and then let that carry on cooking for a bit longer and I'll get back to you. Okay, right. As you guys can see, what I've done now is I've flipped over those again, the first lot, and I've put a second batch in, and they're just going through cooking the first bit, and that's pretty much it. So once you can see that's cooked through, you can press down on it with something, and then as soon as you feel it's firm, if you're still not convinced, just stick a knife in it, and as the knife comes out, press down. As the knife comes out clean and there's no blood seeping up back up in the hole you pull the knife out of, then you're good to go. And that's your schnitzels, and the next time you see me they'll be plated up. Okay, there we have it plated up. We have some of the cabbage, we have some French fries, and just now a nice ladle of the Jäger sauce. And I know my brother will want some on his French fries as well. There you go. Jägerschnitzel with the Baltic style cabbage and French fries. Enjoy.